Hi guys, I just got out of the shower, so I'm a little disheveled there. I gotta tell you, with this Lent vlog, I was really excited to do it. I had gone out for that walk in the morning, and I had a really good, wonderful walk, wonderful prayer time. And then when it came down to actually recording after that first one, I was like scared to death. You have to understand, my faith is like one of the most personal and biggest parts of me, and it's scary to share that sometimes. I mean, I'll just run down and blurt things. I often blurt things about anything at the wrong time. I'm one of those people. I say something without thinking first, but give me time to think and I freeze. And Sharon gave me a lot of encouragement just in her own videos about just be yourself, just be yourself. It's difficult. So that may be something I'm reflecting on in this Lent. God made me. He made me. He likes me fine, you know. So I'm sure I drive him crazy sometimes, just like we all drive each other crazy. I don't know. But that's a hard one for me. Anyway, I'd like to tell you about the second day of Lent. So here I am in New Zealand, and my children raised sheep for 4-H projects. And the last year, Mary and Thomas had a 4-H project. Last 2 years for Mary, they had a breed called coherent, which is a wool breed. Normally we raised South Downs, which are a market breed or meat breed. They're raised for lamb. And coherents are wool, and they're dual purpose. People use them for both. But, you know, when you show them, they're looking at the fleece, they're looking at the wool. It was very exciting for me. I'm not a farm girl by birth or origin, and I love learning about all this. I don't know as much about them as all these long-term shepherds or farmers, but my eldest son's 31. He was 10 when he started. Oh, he's almost 32. I feel old. When he started showing sheep. So here I am in New Zealand where there's more sheep than people. That's just a prequel to my Lent story. And I had planned to talk about, you know, what I was meditating on and the scriptures and everything, and then this happened. Just sort of said, you know, stop planning everything. You already said before what your things for Lent are. Just let it go, let it go, let it go. So I said, well, now that my foot's like not doing too bad walking here in New Zealand, I was going to do daily walk each day. And so I went out to do the walk, and I did something that I don't think I've done much recently, but I did it when I was younger, which was just, you know, I mean, I give the day to God, but yeah, I give the day to you, God, this morning, you know, but to actually say, okay, Lord, what adventure do you have for us today? Let this be your day. Let me do what you want. You know, it's in your hands. And I'm a person that lives in an awful lot of fear. It's rather instinctual for me. And I know if I just let go, someone once said to me, Monica, do you believe God wants good things for you? And I always knew, yes, God wants what's best for me. And if what's best for me is an asteroid falling into my house, then that must be what God wants, and it's what's best. My goodness. That's just my attitude. Isn't that nuts? God wants good things for me. And so I said, yeah, Lord, what adventure today? This is yours. Go ahead. And I went walking down the street, down the big steep hill. And again, with my bad foot, I can walk on really steep areas fine because the pressure on my foot's completely different. And I have my miracle shoes. These things are great to walk in. So I walked down the hill. And across from my daughter's house, there's one big steep hill she's on. There's a road in the bottom. And then you go up another big steep hill, and it's full of sheep. It's a field full of sheep. And I'm looking over there thinking, are they coherents, which is a New Zealand breed, and what my kids had at the end there. And I said, I'm going to go look at them. And it's a bit of a distance down one hill, across the road, and up one hill. And the only time I had any trouble walking at all was on the flat area at the bottom. So I go and I walk around, try to find the little road that would go up toward the sheep, and I find this dirt road. And I get to this area where the road bends suddenly to the right, and over on the left is this field of sheep, and I'm looking at them going, gosh, they have little black noses, coherents have, but something looks different about them. And they were still a distance from me up on the hill. They're looking at me, looking at me. And then I look over the other way, and I see in a paddock there's a ram with horns. Now, sheep can be horned or polled. Polled means they don't have horns. It's not a male or female thing. Some people think that. No, males or females can either have horns or no horns. Now, Corriedales, to my knowledge, only come in polled, no horns. So this thing has horns, and I said, I don't think it looks like it's the same breed on the hill. I don't think it's a Corriedale. But I'm having a great time doing this. I'm talking to God the whole time. So what the heck are these things, Lord, you know? And then part of me thinking, boy, I'd really like to meet the farmer to ask him. And I turn toward the right, and I keep walking up the road. And beautiful walk. Oh, my gosh, I got some pictures of the wildflowers there. Most of the time, I'm just enjoying the walk. And I get to the top, and there's a gate over a pasture. So I said, all right, I'm not going to go on someone's land. And the gate was open, but I'm not going in there. So I turn around and come down. I get almost down to the bottom of the hill, and I hear the familiar sound of a truck. And by truck, I mean a farmer's truck, and I know that sound. So I turn around. There's this black truck. It looks like something like a newer Suburban. You know, really well cared for, coming down. So I raised my hand and flagged the driver. This guy, the window rolls down. There's this older farmer sitting in the truck. And I asked him, what breed is over? I said, are those his sheep over there? He said, no, it's his neighbor's sheep. I said, you know what breed they are? They look a little Corriedale-ish, but they're not Corriedale. And he goes, oh, got a lot of stuff in them. Maybe some Corriedale. They're mostly Parendale, New Zealand breed. And he starts talking to me about his farm, and that was his pasture at the end of the road. And he said, anytime you want to go up in there, you're welcome to. And he said, you know what, I'm going to see my flock over down in a different pasture a little bit away right now, and you want to come see him? So I jumped in the truck and closed the door. We start talking. He drives off up the road about a mile, between half a mile and a mile up the road from where my daughter lives, and pulls over, and we get out. And he said, he told me his sheepdog died in 2010, but he hasn't needed a sheepdog because all his sheep know his voice, and if he calls them, they'll come. And so he went over to the gate, and I'm going to add, I hope it works, a video to the end of this. If you don't see it, it didn't work, of him calling his sheep. Now, I only have my cell phones. The video quality is pretty poor, and the sunlight was so bad I couldn't really see what I was videoing, so it's a little bit wonky in the beginning, but it gets better toward the end. It's only about a minute long, if that, less than that probably. But he has this call. He had 2 different calls he made, and as soon as he started calling, he had at least 200 ewes on that field, and the field was big. It was a large area. I think he says he has about 500 acres. I think it was acres and not, they use another unit of measure out here, but that would be even bigger, but I'm pretty sure he said 500 acres. And he calls, and these sheep just start coming. They're pouring down the hills like water, and they're all baaing back at him. Bah, bah, and it's a baa I recognize as a call. It's a return call to someone calling. They are coming down, and they're all coming to him because they knew his voice. And they get down almost as far as where I am, and they stop, and they freeze. And then they start walking parallel to the fence, going up. He's calling them again. And one of them breaks off, starts coming to him, then goes back with the other ones when it sees the other ones aren't coming, and they're stopping, and they're just looking. And I realized they didn't know who I was. They were scared of me. But they knew his voice, and they wanted to come to him. In fact, he opened the gate, because sometimes they'll open the gate and cross the road to another field, and they wanted to come, but they stopped. So he closed the gate again, and he goes, oh, it's probably too hot for him today. Oh my gosh, that's New Zealand talk, South Island, New Zealand talk. It was like about 70 degrees out, but it's cool down here. Because it hit 75, 80 here, and they're dying. And it's like, but anyway, it's beautiful weather when you adjust to it. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's like perfect. But, so they were afraid to come. They wanted to come, but they were afraid of me. So they just froze. But I enjoyed it tremendously. And then he said, come on back in. You know, he said, you're welcome to walk my property anytime. I got in, and I said, just drop me at the corner there. I'll welcome you. He said, no, I'll drive you back. And he drove me back. I had no fear. Now, normally I wouldn't hop in a pickup truck with a person I didn't know, but this environment is very different, and I had absolutely no concern. And as I got back, I'm walking to the house, I thought, holy cow. I asked God for an adventure today, and I got one beyond my wildest dreams. Now, for some of you, you might go, really? That you find that exciting? But it was great. And boy, I didn't even reflect on it till later, but man, there was also a little divine joke in there for me, because, you know, if you get to know Jesus, he does poke you with a stick now and then, kind of lovingly, with a smile, and he play boxes with you sometimes. But it was great. So I said, you know, that is my reflection on my second day of Lent, and I loved it. I was so excited. And today, Now, my daughter wants to go to the botanical gardens, and since my foot's doing better, we might do that. And if not, I'm walking back up that hill and going into the pasture. And I loved it. So I will see you next time, and hopefully I don't lose my nerve again and just stand and freeze. So I will see you next time as I continue to go through Lent. Bye-bye.
Jawohl, jawohl, jawohl. Jawohl, jawohl, jawohl. Jawohl, jawohl, jawohl,